The time was of Sunday afternoon. Mr. and Mrs. Hill were enjoying their lunch with a cup of coffee.
Ah! This coffee is ridiculous. Do we pay her for poisoning us like this? Why doesn't she make good coffee?
Oh, George, here you are again. Can't you just leave complaining for a day? I mean, like it's Sunday afternoon.
Hey Jane, did you forget who I am? I am the head honcho of the bank. I am no clerk. Her ridiculous food is leading to the deterioration of my reputation.
Calm down, don't worry. From the next time, I will be preparing food for your guests.
Jane, when guests arrive, you must entertain them instead of cooking food in the kitchen. So, the best solution is getting a new cook.
But what about Annie then? She has been serving us her service of loyalty since last 20 years. And who will give her a job at this age? What I know is we can't say goodbye to her like this.
I am not an NGO manager. I am a bank manager. I don't need to give money to her for doing nothing. Whether she finds a new job or not, that's none of my bothers.
What has been to you, George? You have never been such egocentric earlier.
Jane, listen. I just care about my bank and my customers. But if you're requesting so much, I'll provide 3 months to her. It'll be more than enough for her for finding a new job. Okay? And you'll have to talk to her today only. And now, I'm feeling quite somnolent, so let me have a nap.
Oh Jesus, I'm feeling bad for the lady. I'ma do what you want.
Mrs. Hill takes a leave of Mr. Hill, while Mr. Hill, feeling drowsy, fell well asleep on the couch.
Mr. Hill was still dreaming, but suddenly a knock at the door woke him up.
Ah! Who's there? Is it a ghost or something? Dear ghost, if you're there, please don't do any harm to me. It's best for you to believe that whatever you want, I'ma give it to you, dear ghost. So please don't do any harm to me.
Sir, we are no ghosts.
Oh, it's Briggs and Winters. Well, guys, hello, what's up?
Briggs told that he was fine and tried to get the attention of Mr. Hill on a topic on which he wanted to have a conversation, but Mr. Hill wasn't ready to show any solemnity.
Oh, let me guess. A new burger shop is about to be opened in our locality, right?
Sir, we are serious.
Okay, go on.
Sir, we think that you ought to resign.
And you were pretending to be serious. Good man.
Mr. Hill fell into laughter hearing that, but there was a serious silence among the other two.
Wait, why are you not laughing? It was a joke, right?
Life is no joke, sir.
Stop it! Briggs is just the assistant manager, and Winter, you are just the cashier. I am the smart cookie and I am the head honcho. You've got no right to speak with me like that.
Sir, we all want is the success of a bank.
Yes, sir. It will be better for you to resign.
I'll fire both of you if it's a joke.
Sorry to say, sir, but we are not joking. Please show some solemnity.
Sir, you talk nicely with the customers, but not with the staff. You are disliked by everyone.
Oh please, this bank is running on my hard work. You guys are good for nothing.
Great, sir. We are good for nothing, right? And you are good for everything. You always come on time in the morning and complete a simple and healthy lunch in 30 minutes. Isn't it so?
Don't try to taunt me. I'll file a complaint against you in the head office. Just wait and watch.
Wow, sir, we didn't know that you used to study astrology while taking 3 hours for lunch. You know everything? We have already filed a complaint against you.
And unfortunately, the head office is with us.
Ah, you guys are like mantra of Ramayana.
Thanks for the compliment, sir, but you have to resign. You have no other choice.
I know, if the head office is saying so, I'll have to.
Goodbye, sir.
Briggs and Winter took a leave of Mr. Hill. They left Mr. Hill in a deep thought, a worried one. Mrs. Hill then entered the place, dressed in a heavy coat, carrying a bag.
Are you cognizant of the fact that Briggs and Winters visited a few moments ago?
Yes, I am. I am well aware of the fact that you are such an irresponsible bank manager that your team is even fed up with you. So, they want you to resign? They are quite right. Well, now I am going to my sister's place for a holiday. Call me back only when you get yourself a new job.
Alas! Even after serving the bank for my life, I've been insulted by them by being thrown out like this. And this was not enough for the day. This Jay wanted to make me even more discontented. Now, my wife is wanting to abandon me.
Okay, time for me to leave now.
Wait! If you leave me like this in this hot soup, then who'll be left to take care of me?
Just convince Annie to take care of you. Otherwise, do it yourself. You are no infant. Now, I'll bid you farewell.
Mr. Hill sighed in dejection on his misfortune, and then suddenly a knock came at his door, and that was from Annie. That was when Annie entered the room.
Annie, don't say anything. I know you're wanting to leave, so just leave.
Sir, actually...
Annie, please just leave.
But sir...
Annie, please. I don't want to listen to any excuses. My life is ruined. I don't know why am I sitting here. I should leave this place immediately.
Sir, you are overreacting.
Okay, sorry.
I guess I'm consuming a lot of dramatic content these days.
Well, you carry on.
Okay, so sir, I wanted to tell you that I'm not leaving. I know that madam has left. So I'll stay and I'll take care of you. Perhaps I'll not get paid, but it is nothing to be bothered about as I have some savings for going on.
Haven't seen a selfless soul like you before, Annie. Thanks a lot.
Annie goes out, and Mr. Hill, after the headache of the whole day, relaxes himself on the chair again as before and closes his eyes. Mr. Hill was still sleeping when his wife came into the room and woke him up.
Wait, what? Is it Eugene? I mean, how are you here? Haven't you been to your sister's?
Dear, I think you are still in sleep. You have been sleeping all the afternoon.
Means what all I saw was just a dream, or you can say a nightmare?
I think a cup of tea can charge you up. So let's recharge ourselves with it.
Thanks. And by the way, did you spoke to Annie yet?
Not yet. I was busy, but nevertheless, I'll ask soon. Today evening, I guess.
Well, I reconsidered it and I think that we ought to keep her. She's been there with us for ages.
Finally, this foolish man got my point.
What about your guests then? I mean, who will cook for the guests when need will occur? Have you thought about it?
I think I shan't invite guests often. That way, it'll be easier for us. But let's not worry about it.
As a matter of fact, those futile parties are of no use. Leaving that, George, what has been to you? I mean, how have you changed so quickly?
Nice to hear that.
Is it because of the dream?
Well, just leave that topic. I don't have any intentions of talking about it, but I won't forget it.
Annie enters the room.
Madam, shall I bring tea for now?
So, this was how a dream brought such a big change in the behavior of a person who was going wrong. The story teaches us to be down to earth and to behave with others in the way in which you want others to behave with you. You reap what you sow.